right, so we got another review here from Google Maps for a restaurant. This one was written by Daniel. Um, and let's go ahead and jump into it and see what Daniel's concern was. So I've been eating at the taste of course, I blacked out some of the name there just to protect the innocent. But he's been eating at this restaurant for over 30 years. And tonight was his daughter's 18th birthday, and it was wrecked by a racist bigot of a manager. Now, I just got to pause right there because, obviously Daniel's been eating at this restaurant for some time, over 30 years. And we say he's over 30 years he's been eating at this restaurant, and no other time in the past has the bigot racist manager done things that caused him to stop patroning his business. So I have a little bit of question about that, unless this is a new manager. But Daniel went as far as laying out some of these adjectives on the manager, but one word he never used was new. So he must be familiar with this person, and obviously the service hasn't been that bad that it stopped him from coming, because he's been going to this business for over 30 years. But let's continue to read. So apparently the owner of said business has decided to remove the pepper grinders from the tables, and we enjoy fresh ground pepper in our steaks. Okay, so Daniel is peed off because he wants fresh ground pepper on his steaks, and the manager of this business, the owner of this business, removed the fresh ground pepper, and so the racist bigot manager is somewhere looped in here. Let's figure out how. We mentioned this to the manager, and he indicated that it was a decision made by the owner. Now, so far I haven't read something that was racist. His demeanor was unpleasant and made it quite clear he didn't care if we enjoyed our dining experience. Uh, you know, I just don't know how to think about. I don't know what to think about that. Um, the manager says, "Hey, I hear you. This is something that you enjoy, and I am so sorry we don't have it. The owner has decided to shift gears and not offer fresh ground pepper in the restaurant anymore, and because of that, Daniel then hauled off and called the man racist. I don't know. Let's see. So his demeanor was unpleasant, made it clear he didn't care if we enjoyed our dining experience. Daniel has a problem. Looks like his dining experience didn't care about his dining experience. My wife then complained in a mildly raised voice. Now, come on now, Daniel. Let's just pause it right there. My wife then complained in a mildly raised voice. Your wife probably held off and yelled at everybody in the restaurant, but I understand what you're saying, and was asked to leave. I don't know any restaurant that's going to ask somebody to leave if they mildly raise their voice and complain. Your wife probably was irate here. The manager, Donnell, okay, so we have a manager's name. His name is Donnell. Then asked my wife to leave. She responded that she'd be quiet and asked to stay, as it was my daughter's 18th birthday. She was told that she would be arrested if she didn't leave. We will never be back. Okay, so it sounds like, then I'm sorry to hear this. It sounds like the birthday party, you know, was just a very unpleasant experience all around for both your 18th, your daughter's 18th birthday, your wife, yourself, the managers. It looks like it was just all around bad experience. You gave the food a rating of 3, the service 1, and atmosphere 3. Let's see what the manager had to say. The owner. Well, the owner responded here. Said, "You were removed from the restaurant for the profanity you used towards our staff and the guest environment. No guest is allowed to use abusive language towards our staff." Now, something's not around here is not lining up, right? Now, Dan, you didn't say that you was cussing. You and your wife was cussing people. You say that you said that you mildly raised your voice to voice a complaint, and it does not sound like that's what happened here. Now, I will say, right, good for you, restaurant leadership, for not allowing a customer to abuse, not allowing a customer to abuse your patrons. not allowing your customer to abuse your employees. We can't allow customers to abuse your employees. But Google Maps is not the place to respond to this, because customers who are not familiar with your business but want to get to know you so they can decide whether or not they want to do business with you are going to go here first before they choose to do business with you. So you don't want to use Google Maps review to respond to customers like this, right? Like Daniel had a bad experience. He decided he wasn't coming back. These are one of those things where you say, look, you know what, Dan, we are sorry to lose a customer. We hate to see a customer go, but we do understand. We do understand you have a lot of places to do business, and we hoped that it makes sense for us to do business again in the future. Something similar, right? Hey, but you don't have to put up with somebody cussing out your employees, but you don't want to respond here on Google Map with that. And Daniel, something this ain't lining up with your story. Something not lining up, right? You called the manager racist. You've been doing business there for over 30 years. There's no indication that this manager is new. So obviously you never had a problem with the manager in the past. You said that you admit that your wife raised her voice. The owner is saying that you didn't just raise your voice, you was cussing their staff out. Well, that just ain't gonna work, Daniel. That is not gonna work. Kudos to you, restaurant, for handling it the way you did. But you do not want to respond to these types of things on Google Maps the way that you did. These are one of those comments that you want to leave something very, very vanilla, very kosher, and just allow Daniel to go find somewhere else to go do business. Him and his cussing wife.